Human and Biodiversity Crisis. Biodiversity is the variety and variability of life on Earth. Biodiversity is typically a measure of variation at genetic, species, and ecosystem level. Biodiversity is important to humans for many reasons. Biodiversity is also considered by many to have intrinsic value. Each species has a value and right to exist, whether or not it is known to have value to humans. The fewer animals we have, the fewer humans we will have. That's why biodiversity is important. The wide variety of species on Earth, whether they are plants, animals, or microscopic organisms, are vital to keep the world's many ecosystems healthy, balanced, and thriving. Growing plants we can eat, and trees we can shade under. In other words, biodiversity ensures natural sustainability for all life on the planet. Think more abundant crops and fresher air. For example, more than 3 billion people depend on marine and coastal biodiversity, while more than 1.6 billion people rely on forests for their livelihoods. The loss of biodiversity affects the lives of more than 1 billion people living in drylands. But there are a number of issues threatening our planet's biodiversity, from climate change to invasive species. And now, we're going to discuss some of the biggest threats facing our biodiversity today. First is the climate change. Changes in climate throughout our planet's history have, of course, alternative life on Earth. In the long run, ecosystems have come and gone, and species routinely go extinct. But rapid, man-made climate change speed up the process, without affording ecosystems and species the time to adapt. For example, rising ocean temperatures and diminishing Arctic sea ice affects marine biodiversity and can shape vegetation zones, have global implications. Overall, climate is a major factor in distribution of species across the globe. Climate change forces them to adjust, but many are not able to cope, causing them to die out. Second is the deforestation and habitat loss. Deforestation is a direct cause of extinction and loss of biodiversity. An estimate 18 million acres, one of forests are lost each year due in part to logging and other human practices, destroying the ecosystems on which many species depend. Tropical rainforests, in particular, just as Amazon, hold a high percentage of the world's known species. The third is the overexploitation. Overhunting, overfishing, and overharvesting contribute greatly to the loss of biodiversity, killing off numerous species over the past several hundred years. Poaching and other forms of hunting for profit increase the risk of extinction. The fourth is the invasive species. The introduction of non-native species in an ecosystem can threaten endemic wildlife, either as predators or competing for resources, affects human health and upset economics. Fifth is the pollution from the burning of fossil fuels, releasing dangerous chemical into atmosphere and in some cases depleting ozone levels to dumping 19 billion pounds of plastic in the ocean every year. Pollution completely disrupts the Earth's ecosystem. While it may not necessarily cause extinction, pollutants do have the potential to influence species habitats. For example, acid rain, which is typically caused by the burning of fossil fuels, can acidify smaller bodies of water and soil, negatively affecting the species on life there by changing breeding and feeding habits. Biodiversity is an issue that affects everyone, and therefore, everyone should be aware of their effect on biodiversity. As biodiversity decreases on Earth, so that the chances of human survival. Therefore, it is important to educate people on living in equilibrium with the environment. It is also important to make sure that the government is making laws that will ensure biodiversity for the future, and not only focus on short-sighted economics. If humans become extinct, it is will likely be a result of their own action or lack of action, and hopefully humans will realize this before it is too late.